Welcome everyone to a very special session today, the InvestorAi Academy session today. We're here every Saturday at 12:30 p.m. There's nothing on our minds but this session at 12:30. And we're very happy to see many familiar people here, but I see a lot of new people, and I'm thinking that's because of our session that's focused on the first-time investor. Yes. This is, one of those webinars where when we shared this session, across WhatsApp groups, on our social media platforms, we got a lot of interest from people. And I think that's because there are 10.4 million people that actually got into the stock market since COVID. So it's like a 30% increase in the number of investors who actually opened demat accounts. And if some of you haven't and are here for, to understand what's happening in the country, what is this whole craze about retail investing and the stock markets, and you're in the right place to just know what to do, where to start, and how to make money. So, and of course, using AI, while we tell you all about that. So today we have here, a lot of people from the InvestorAi team, where, this is brought to you by Bridgeweave. We're an AI Fintech company headquartered out of the UK, but very focused on India. And InvestorAi is our app that's on the App Store and Play Store. We'll tell you more about that. I have with me today Akshaya Bhargava, our chairman and founder, and I have Bruce Keith, our CEO. He says hello, and they're joining us from London, very early in the morning for them, but they're all very excited every Saturday morning to do this. Also have with me Sarthak Behura, our product head, and without further ado, I'm going to ask Akshay to start. Just some house rules before that. You all are on mute. However, the chat is open. Keep it buzzing. We're looking forward to taking a lot of questions. So Akshay, over to you on this very special session. Over to you, Akshay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shruti. And welcome to everybody who has joined. My personal thanks, and I really appreciate all of you taking the time just before lunch to listen to us. As Shruti said, this is a series of webinars. We do one every Saturday. And if for any reason you have to leave early, you will always find a recording on our YouTube page. So today's topic is the first-time investor. And this is really, we normally focus it on different aspects of investing. But in the last few webinars that we've done, we've had so many people who are either investing for the first time or have less than 1 year experience in investing, that we thought we need to, it would be a good idea to focus on some of the principles that are important for first-time investing. So you're going to find this slightly philosophical because, but in a sense, that's how we as a company think. But I hope you enjoy the session. I want to start with what is it that we're going to cover today. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is why should you invest in the first place? The second concept, which is incredibly powerful, is the power of having time on your side. Okay. The third thing is the importance of knowing yourself. And then I want to talk about what are some of the habits that we see in good investors. And, all of us cannot have all good habits. We tend to have bad habits from time to time, but it's good to highlight and make sure that, that we learn from experience. And finally, how can you find stocks to invest in? But before I go further, I just want to get a quick demographic check. And we're going to do an online question. Please click on it. So, Prabal, can you please put up the question? The first question is, have you invested before? And if you can just just click on the answer, and you'll see the answer here. I am not able to. Are you able to see it?
Yes, Akshay.
Just tell me. I'm not able to see.
I will tell you. So yes, we have about. It's moving rapidly, but we have a 60-40, 60 who have invested before, And yeah, about 35% who say that, they have never invested before.
That's very interesting. So there's a good bunch of people, 45%, who have never invested before. So I hope you find something of interest here, and I hope it gives you confidence to go forward and invest. Let me ask the second question is, for those who have invested, have you used InvestorAI? And again, Shruti, if you wouldn't mind reading
Yes,
out.
absolutely, Akshay. It's gone up, and yes, we're looking at an 80-20, where,
Okay.
yeah.
So there is some familiarity with InvestorAI.
Yes, 80% haven't.
And then the last question I'm going to ask you, and please bear with me, this is the last one for now, is what is the one thing that will help you become more confident for investing?
Yeah, it's gone up, Akshay, and it's interesting. Just going to read out the options. Our options were better information, specific ideas and signals, being part of an investing community, or education and webinars. And at this stage, specific ideas and signals is at about a 45%, Akshay. And of course, better information is at about 27%. So that's very interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yeah. So I've just put up the results, Akshay. So we're at 42% specific signals and ideas, 26% better information. Yes.
Okay. Fine. That's really, really helpful for me. And it'll allow me to tailor my narrative as we go forward. So firstly, why invest? Okay. Firstly, it can be fun and intellectually satisfying. There is a level of mathematics involved in investing. And it's not very difficult to figure out. Anyone can understand it. Thoda time chahiye. If you spend a little bit of time, you can work it out. And once you work it out, the mathematics works. And it is quite beautiful and satisfying in its own way, just because there is a logic to it, there is a method to it. And once you understand the method, you actually feel quite intimate with the whole investing process. And then it's something that, if you do it as a group, if you have friends you can talk to, it becomes a lot of fun. So that's one reason. And even if you don't make a lot of money, you will learn a lot either way. So this is quite an intellectually satisfying and sometimes intellectually challenging activity. Secondly, if you do it well, it can actually secure your financial future. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this. Thirdly, I believe it can teach you life skills beyond investing. And, some of the things that I'm going to say are really my views. You may or may not agree with them, but just, take it for what it is. I think and much of it is personal views. So my own investing journey has taught me a lot about myself and about life. Do I get swayed by news? Do I, am I impulsive? Am I thoughtful? Do I take pleasure in, other people losing money? These are very important insights about yourself. So I think there's a lot you can learn just beyond investing. Finally, don't forget, investing in India is very tax effective. So long-term capital gains, which is after 1 year, is 10%. Taxed at 10%, and a short-term capital gain is taxed at 15%. Both of them are much lower than income tax. So it's quite a tax-effective thing. But, and this is a mega but, it is a high-risk activity. If you do it badly, it can be a disaster. So my advice to anybody is never invest more money than you can afford to lose. Okay, don't sort of borrow to invest. Don't, I know of people who have done this and really sort of turned into a big disaster. So please, huge health warning that has to follow any investment activity. Don't forget that. The first concept I want to talk about is time. Okay, and I'm not being philosophical here. I really, time is your friend. And if you're in the first time investing category, chances are you're in your 20s or early 30s. And if that is the case, you have a massive advantage over any investor because you have time on your side. Okay. It matters how old you are. If you're 25 years old, then if your expected lifespan is till 80, okay, you have 55 years to go. If you are 40, then you have 40 years to go, etc. It matters how much you invest, and it matters how much time you spend on a regular basis. These sound like simple things, but they are quite important, and I will explain in a moment. So let's just look at the notion of compound interest. Okay, is the superpower that I believe all of us have. And this is a real quote from Einstein, who said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world and the most powerful thing I have ever encountered. And let us see what he means. Let's unpack this statement a little bit. Okay, how do you turn 50 lakhs into 9 crores? Okay, now this sounds like, alchemy and mystery and magic. But if you are 25 years old, okay, and you start with just 5 lakhs, and every year through your life, you put 1 lakh every year, and you make 15% return each year and reinvest it. The total money you will have invested is 50 lakhs, okay, over till you are 70 years old. Okay, so you have 55 years to, 45 years to invest. Your average return is 15%. When you're 50, it'll be worth 2.1 crores. When you're 60, it'll be worth 4.4 crores. When you're 70, it'll be worth nearly 9 crores. And if your return can go up to 20%, this 9 crores will go up to something like 17, 18 crores. So it is just the power of compounding and time and doing it in a systematic way that makes you an incredible amount of money. In my own case, I wish I had started earlier than I did. But frankly, I did not really have any money till I was in my 30s to invest. And when I was in my 30s, investment wasn't priority in my mind. I was worried about other things. So I didn't really start investing till I was in my mid-40s or late 40s. And even then, 20, 30 years is a lot of time. But here, if you're 25, you have at least 50, 60 years ahead of you. And that is an incredible advantage that all of you are starting out with. So the way I see it, you are a big element of what I call the superpower. The AI that we provide, which gives you signals and ideas, is the second element. And the third element is time. And if you add you and AI, time will exponentially multiply your returns. And that is your superpower. This is something everybody has. You don't need to be born with it. Okay? So just, follow this logic with me. Once you accept that time is a very, very important factor, there are things you have to ask yourself. What is your style? Not everybody has the same style. There are people who look for ideas and then invest money. There are people who will read news, analyze it, and think about it for a few days and do it. There are people who will talk to friends. There are people who will, saying, "Yaar, mere ko ek tip de do," "Aaj ka kya tip hai?" Those kind of. So some people wait for tips and all that. In my own case, when I think about it, I think I'm a slightly nervous investor. I'm conservative. What in Hindi would be called a darpok investor. So I invest very carefully. You must have read about the recent IPO of Coinbase. This is the crypto trading platform that went listed day before yesterday. I was very keen to invest, and I sort of waited for the stock to list, looked at it, finally bought when it was $325. It is now $342, so it's done really well. But I haven't made that much money because I bought only 50 shares. And now I was just looking at this morning, so why did I buy 500 shares? But that's my style. I'm just a little cautious. I will make little bets. When I feel confident, I will go a little further. But not everybody is like that. So you have to understand that about yourself. Are you an active investor? Active investor is not somebody who invests every day. Active investor in my mind who looks at the market, looks at the numbers every day and thinks about it and sometimes makes a decision. You may make an investment decision every day or every other day, or you may not. Do you prefer buy and hold? There are a lot of people who, have bursts of activity. For one or 2 weeks, they'll be frantic. They look at everything, analyze everything. Then they will buy and then they won't do anything for another 2 months. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just a different style. Okay. One very important thing is how much time can you spend on investments? Investment is not something, investment is a bit like going to the gym. You cannot be lazy all week and on Sunday spend 2 hours in the gym and make up for Monday to Saturday. No. Half an hour, 1 hour every day is far better than 3 hours, once a week. Investments are like that. If you can spend 20, 30 minutes every day in a very disciplined basis, you will do far better than doing an intense burst of activity for a week and then doing nothing for a month. Okay? And that speaks to the last point which I'm bringing up. Are you disciplined enough? You have to have discipline. I will tell you a story of somebody who I know very well. He was between jobs, had a little bit of extra money, started to invest, and turned out he was quite good at it. And every day he would spend like 1 hour in the morning and half an hour in the afternoon on the markets, and he started to make money. And he got very confident and he got very cocky. So he went and borrowed lots of money to make investments. Now that's the first mistake, I think. But more importantly, then he made a little bit of money, so he felt better about it. But more importantly, then he got a job. He was no longer between jobs, could not spend the kind of money he did. And then he lost it all because markets moved. He wasn't there to take a decision. He wasn't watching it constantly. And he didn't have the kind of stocks that you buy and hold because he was doing, more day trading kind of thing. And he lost all that money, including the money he had borrowed, and he was severely in debt. And that's the kind of thing that can happen. So discipline, regularity is very, very important. So, if you really want to take this up on a meaningful basis, make sure you have the time. If you don't have the time, then you have to change your style. Okay, then don't go into stocks where you want to make quick return and things like that. Then, buy and hold companies that you can hold for a long period of time. Then it doesn't matter whether you look at it every day or not. So it is very important to know your style, your time commitment, your own level of discipline, and so on and so forth. Okay. Let me talk a little bit about good investment habits. Firstly, read as much as you can and talk to people who know. Okay, everybody has, a friend or an uncle or a mentor or a colleague at work who knows about investments. Talk to people. Don't take whatever they're saying at face value. But the more you talk to people, the more information you get, and the more you will start to understand. Because there is a lexicon, there is a language, there is a taxonomy to these things, and you have to understand them. Secondly, learn to understand market information. Okay, you have to be able to read and if somebody says, price earning ratio, what does that really mean? Or could calculate karke dekho. Don't just take it as the word. And once you do that, you just have to do it 1 or 2 times, and then you will understand it because the mathematics is actually very simple. You just have to know what is being calculated and why it is being calculated in a certain way. Keep asking, why is something happening? If the price has moved up, why has it moved up? Gone down, why has it gone down? If the analyst's rating has gone up, why has it gone up? It's the why that will teach you. Okay, you may not always get a satisfactory answer, but you have to be curious and you have to be persistent and you have to go to whatever source of information that you trust to answer that why. And that will help you form your own view on the market and each company that you're interested in. Okay. The next thing is find the best source of ideas or the source of best ideas you can find. Okay, this is gold dust of investing. good idea, good investment ideas. And frankly, that is why we created InvestorAI as a product, because InvestorAI, its only purpose is to give you good ideas. Now, I'm not saying it's the best in the world, even though I think it is. But it may not be. Maybe there is something out there in China that is a little bit better, or in Australia or New Zealand, but I have not found it. Okay, so please use it the best you can. Try and understand each idea. If you find a better source, please go to it. It must work for you, and it must be the best for you. And what it helps you, all this 1 through 5 that I've suggested, what it really does, it helps you build what I call muscle memory. Okay, let me give you an example from my own life in a very different context. So people who know me well know this, that I have a great interest in modern art. Okay, I follow artists all over the world. So about 20 years ago, I found a website called Mutual Art. So if you're interested, just look it up. Mutual Art tracks 2,800 auction sites all over the world. They look at every auction catalog, every artist, every piece, every price, and so on. And they will tell you, if you track MF Hussain, for instance, any work of MF Hussain that comes up for auction anywhere in the world, they will alert you. Okay, so I track about 170 artists. I get a daily email from Mutual Art, which says, today, these are the 20 artists who are available for auction, and so on. So, roz aata hai, so much, 8 baje. It takes me about 20 minutes to read it. I have been doing this for over 20 years now. I know those artists intimately. You name the artists, Otto Goodfriend, and you tell me the name tell me the work, tell me the size, I will tell you what price it is. I've just learned it over time. I'm not an expert. I don't think I'm an art expert or anything like that. But there are some things I have learned really well because I've seen it every day for 20 years. If you look at investment ideas and market signals every day, you will also build just muscle memory. Usko dekh ke immediately समझ में आएगा ये ठीक है या नहीं ठीक है. That is a very important skill to develop. And if you're starting for the first time, it is just the discipline of doing it every day that will allow you to build that. Okay, so it's a very, very important feature if you can develop it. And the last thing I would say is invest in yourself before you invest in the market. What do I mean by that? Invest in educating yourself. Come to webinars like this. There are other webinars also. There are many Indian companies who hold webinars. Go sit through all of them. You're just investing in yourself. You're acquiring knowledge. You're learning. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Before you invest in other companies, first invest in yourself. Okay, that is very, very important. And the last thing I will tell you is that you will make mistakes. You will lose money. You will invest badly. Okay, but learn from it. Think of every mistake as an opportunity to learn. Not about the market, but about yourself. Why did you lose money? Oh, I sold too early. Why did I lose money? Because I bought at the wrong time. Why did I lose money? Oh, I bought the wrong stock. Why did I lose money? Because this sector was going down. I should not have bought it in the first place. There were enough data signals that I ignored. It teaches you about yourself. And once you know that, you will get better at making decisions. So the opportunity to learn is about your own styles and why did you make the mistake? This is what I said. Keep asking why. Okay. So look, enough general gyan. I think you must be getting a little tired. Let me just tell you, come to a little bit about InvestorAI. I will just take one page. So firstly, you have to understand the company in order to find the right stock. Secondly, you have to analyze all the information available. Thirdly, you have to buy at the right time. Then you have to sell at the right time, and you have to diversify your risk. All this sounds very simple and logical. It is incredibly difficult to do. Okay? Or you can just let InvestorAI do it for you. And I think that is important because that is why we have created this app. That is what is in the app. Somebody asked me at one of the previous webinars, why is InvestorAI different? What is it that makes it different? And I will tell you, if you go to other places like Money Control, Stock Edge, Market Mojo, there are so many others. they're very good sites and they're very good analytical things, but they tell you what has happened. Investor AI tells you what is going to happen. It is a prediction, and every algo, every signal we have is a prediction, and we compute the accuracy of our predictions and we make sure that our predictions are accurate. And once you start using it, you'll start to get comfortable with how it works. There is for those of you who have used the app, there is a new homepage coming. Okay. I will show it to you, and I will show you the version that's about to go live. You should be able to see it in your apps by tomorrow or day after. There is a section called Wisdom of Crowds, which tells you what other people are looking at. There is a test drive section where you can watch a demo, you can compare, etc. And I'll show you all this in a minute. You can learn more about InvestorAI on Understanding InvestorAI. There is a watch list where you can monitor stocks and see what is happening. There are some handy shortcuts. And then, of course, there is the InvestorAI Academy where you can watch previous webinars. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to share my phone screen in a second. So I will be able to show you how this thing works. And then, so I'll take another 5-6 minutes, and after that, I will open it up to questions. And so please get ready with your questions. You can post your questions on the chat box at any time. We will answer it as it comes along. Okay, so this is InvestorAI. This is the home page. So this is what I meant by wisdom of crowds. So this tells you this is the most viewed insight in India. This is the best performer in India. This is the latest insight, most monitored, etc. And you can just swipe through, left or right. But of course, the idea came from Tinder, but the rest of it is ours. There is a test drive feature where you can watch a demo. If you just click on it, it will take you to YouTube where there's a demo that you can watch. I'm not going to show it to you. Then there's something called Play, which you must use. Play can also be accessed from the bottom where you see the cricket bats. So this is a feature where you can compare one company with another. So let's do a comparison. Let's take Reliance Industries. So if you take Reliance Industries now, what this is doing is comparing Reliance to the Indian market, which is Nifty 500. There is the pink shape is Reliance, the gray shape is the market, and it is doing a comparison on 6 criteria: capital structure, consensus view, valuation, future outlook, historical performance, and maximum drawdown. If you want to understand what these terms are, there is a question mark which you can press. Wherever you see the question mark and press on it, it will give you an explanation of what you're seeing on the page. If you want more details, if you click on the top right-hand corner, which is the menu button, there is a glossary, and then again, it explains all the technical terms, and you can just check at any time, and it's very, very simple to do that. Back at Play, so this is a visual comparison. What it does is it normalizes every score on a 0 to 20 scale, where 20 is very good and 0 is very bad. So larger the shape, the better it is. So now you can see Reliance Industries very good on future outlook, reasonably good on valuation, reasonably good on consensus view, slightly worse than market on capital structure, and slightly worse than market on maximum drawdown, which is the volatility of the stock. And not so great on historical performance. So now you can say that I want to compare Reliance to a competitor, and you can take an international competitor and you can say compare it to British Petroleum, or sorry, BP. Sorry. Or let's take Shell or somebody. I think it's Royal Dutch Shell. What am I doing? I keep making mistakes. Royal Dutch Shell, yes. So now you can see Reliance as an oil company. You could argue Reliance is actually not an oil company, but that's a different matter. It's comparing it to Royal Dutch Shell, and you can see on valuation, Shell scores better. So which means it's a much cheaper stock. And on consensus view, slightly better, future outlook slightly better, and all other things, Reliance is a much, much better stock than Royal Dutch Shell. So what it does, this allows you to compare one company with another. Let us do a different comparison. Let's take some Indian finance companies. So let's take HDFC Bank. And you can see that, again, the red shape is HDFC Bank. And I can say I want to compare it to Axis Bank. And then you can compare it to Axis Bank, and you can see HDFC does much better on maximum drawdown, which means it's not a very volatile stock. On valuation, Axis Bank is better, so it's a cheaper stock. But you could say that, okay, I don't want to compare it to the bank. I want to compare it to Bajaj Finserv, Bajaj Finance here. And here you can see that HDFC, in comparison, analysts like HDFC far better than they like Bajaj Finance. On historic performance and future outlook, Bajaj Finance is better, but on every other criteria, HDFC Bank is better. So anyway, this is just play. I just wanted to show you what you could do with it. You can then explore our algos. So you just click on this, and then it takes you to all the algos we have. There are investment ideas, there are short-term ideas, there are market signals. We'll go back. You can then, there are a bunch of videos. There's getting started, value investing. So you can understand each of our algos through a little video explanation that you will see. There is a watch list. In my case, I'm tracking Tesla and I'm tracking Reliance Industries. Again, if I click on Reliance, it shows me that this is how the Reliance stock has performed against the market. It tells me that there's no live insight and there is one past insight on this stock. So if there's a signal in the system, it will tell you. And finally, there are some shortcuts. Preferences is hugely important. If you click on preferences, you can choose your markets. I have chosen India and I have chosen UK. I could just easily choose Portugal and Poland if that's what I wanted. I can then choose any sectors. I have activated all sectors for this for today's session, but I don't have to. So preferences is very important. This is subscriptions. You can go and change your subscription at any time. And finally, there is a knowledge center, which has more videos and explanations on the algos that we have in the system. And finally, there is InvestorAi Academy. So you can go to a webinar archive and you can see all the videos of the previous webinars that we have held. And you can look at them and learn more about both investing as well as InvestorAi. So I'm going to stop here. And we're now going to open it up for questions. And please feel free to put your question in the chat and we'll be happy to answer it.
Great. So we have a few questions, Akshay. I'm going to just start with the last one that came in, which is Sharmishta's question. So Sharmishta actually asks, in terms of how does she go about, doing these investments? So does she need an Indian bank account? And is the exposure that we have also to global markets or only to India? So I think if we can cover a little bit about how can one start your investment journey.
The first thing you need is a brokerage account, Sharmishta. Now, you can open a brokerage account with one of the banks, HDFC Securities, Axis Securities, Kotak Securities, ICICI. These are the biggest. Or you could go to Zerodha, which is, of course, the discount broker and India's now largest broker. It's very easy. You just need to, you can do most of it. All your KYC and stuff can happen on the mobile, especially if you have an Aadhaar card, which everybody does. So you have to first open your account. Secondly, you have to put money in that account. Okay. And you'll have to do a funds transfer from your bank account to your brokerage account. So the money that sits in your brokerage account is separate from your bank. You can't directly trade from your bank account. You have to open a separate dedicated brokerage demat account and you put your money in that. And then you can use the brokerage account money to buy and sell shares. So when you buy something from your brokerage account, they will take money from your brokerage account, they will buy the stock, and they will hold it in a demat account for you. When you sell, they will debit the demat account, sell the stock, and credit the money into your brokerage account. The brokerage account money will never automatically go to your bank account. You have to actually make a funds transfer if that's what you want.
Okay.
It's very easy. Now, sorry, let me just add. There are also companies who are allowing you to open an international brokerage account if you want to buy international stocks. There is a LRS, Limited Remittance Scheme, or Liberalized Remittance Scheme of RBI, that allows everybody to invest $250,000, up to $250,000 a year per person. So under the LRS scheme, you can go to ICICI, IIFL, HDFC, Kotak, wherever. You can open an international account, and that is a different brokerage account. You can then transfer money from your Indian rupee bank account into a US dollar brokerage account. Once the money is there, then you can use that to buy international stocks. It's a little slightly longer process, but once you do it, then it's straightforward. But just remember, the costs of making international investments are not small. Firstly, they will charge you anywhere between $3 and $9 to make the trade. Then when you're transferring money, there is a funds transfer charge that you'll have to pay every time. So just be aware of those costs. Which basically means that don't start with $1,000. That's not enough. Start with a little more, because otherwise the costs will become so much that it'll look very expensive.
Okay, and I think that answered Devlina's question as well. She actually asked us, how safe or risky is it to trade in international markets? There's a great question from Nilüfer, which I want to just take. I was told investment is like fitness. Each one is different. Is InvestorAi like a coach in that sense, or will it help me analyze what to do?
InvestorAi is both. It's a coach, it's a guide, and it's almost a mentor. See, what we are trying to do in InvestorAi is give you the best information we can possibly give you. But we don't just give you analytics. We actually try and make predictions. So to give you an example, we have an algo called Alpha 330. Okay? And the reason we call it Alpha 330 is because it targets a 3% return in 30 days. So it looks at every stock in the market every day. It does a calculation of many variables, 70, 80 variables, and then it makes a probability prediction of whether the stock can deliver a 3% return in the next 30 days or not. Wherever we believe that wherever we find that the probability is above a certain threshold, it then becomes a signal, and we show it to you. Okay, so when you go to Alpha 330 and you see the signals, those signals are really the best signals that our algo is generating. So that is the prediction we are making. We're also telling you that this company is in a position where we think the momentum is in its favor. So we are telling you about the market. We are guiding you where you should direct your attention. We are making a prediction. We are telling you what it means. But, it does not substitute your judgment. If you don't understand what the company does, if you don't understand what the sector is, if you don't understand enough, don't do anything. We never give you advice. We never tell you what to do. We never tell you, that this is good for you or bad for you. We only tell you what is happening in the market and what we think will happen. So InvestorAi is a bit of a coach, bit of a mentor, and bit of a guide.
Great. One from Akhil. I think it will be a continuation of what you said about InvestorAi. Akhil asks, I just have one question. You mentioned that InvestorAi's USP is predicting the future. Could you tell us what has been the accuracy of these predictions for your past predictions?
I will actually, if you just bear with me a moment, I will show you the accuracy from one of our previous webinars. But I can see Virender Kataria has raised a hand.
Yes,
Virender,
yes.
we don't raise your hand. If you have a question, just post it on the chat, and somebody will either I will answer it or one of my team will answer it. But I just want to get to the accuracy question.
Actually, while you get there, we'll just answer one which we can take right away. Santosh says, is there a trial period available for us to get a hang of it? He means Investor AI. And is it any different from the paid version?
Okay. So, Shanita, you will have the free version of Investor AI will show you a sample of our best signals on every single algo. So for instance, if you go to value investing, if it has 40 ideas there, you will be able to see one. Okay, there is no difference between any idea. And when we show it to you, we show you everything. So you have full access to that one idea. If you want to see more ideas, then you have to pay. And then you will see more ideas. So you'll see one in value investing, you'll see two in Alpha 330, you will see one in swing, you will see one in quarterly results, and you'll have unlimited access to technicals and fundamentals on the free version. On the paid version, you'll have unlimited access to everything. I will come back to subscriptions in a moment, but let me just answer the question about accuracy. I hope everyone can see this. So first of all, inside the app, if you'll see the bell icon on top, on the left of the bell, there is a target button. Wherever you see the target button, if you press that button, it will show you accuracy of that particular algo or of that particular insight. So what this screen is telling me, that this algo called value investing is running at 85% accuracy in the last 90 days. It has generated 226 ideas, which collectively have generated 19.8% return. So if you had bought all 226 on the day it was generated, held it for 90 days, you would have made 20%. Okay, that's sort of what it is saying. Now, of course, you may or may not hold it for 90 days. In India, value investing has generated 11.8% return in the last 90 days, which is 2.65% over benchmark, which means all value investing ideas for India have generated 11.8%, whereas the benchmark has generated 9.15% in this period, which means it's over 10% annualized outperformance with an annualized performance of 47%. So this is very transparently shown to every user in the app every day. All you have to do is touch the target button.
Great. There are a bunch of questions around just payment options and subscription, but we'll get to that. Akshay, let's just take one more from, a new question from Sarvanan. He says, what kind of interactions will I need to have once I enter as per the signal till I exit? Do I need to monitor daily for any bad news to take counter action? I believe the signals does not have stop loss.
Yes.
Does the signals take the market volatility into account, or does it consider only the technicals of a stock? So I think he went in a little deeper, but he wants to understand.
Sarvan, very good question. What I would suggest you do, and I will invite Sarthak, my colleague, to add to my comment. What I would suggest you do is use the signal to buy the stock. The moment you buy the stock, click on active monitoring. You will see a monitor button at the bottom, monitor it, which means then the system will keep track of it for you. You are right, we don't give a stop loss level because we don't actually know whether you bought it or not. But your brokerage account will have a stop loss thing. So if you want to set an automatic stop loss, you have to set it there. Thirdly, yes, you have to look at it every day. This is what I meant about discipline. Unless you're, buying a stock for the long term and you don't really care about short-term movements, that is also a valid position to have. But if you care about making short-term returns, then you have to look at it every day, because InvestorAi, remember, is an end-of-day pricing. We don't give you intra-day price movements. If in the middle of the day the price has moved to a level that you're happy with, then exit, sell at that time. So, your own activity, your own engagement, your own involvement are very, very important. All we are doing is giving you a signal. Yeah. Sarthak, would you like to add anything?
Yes. Actually, a very good answer. I mean, you stole my words, but couple of things. See, when we train algo, we train for all markets, bear markets, bull markets, consolidation, crisis, and all of that. So what happens is when the markets become volatile, like, I just go to the fundamentals of any prediction. It's based on a probability score. So when the volatility increases, it affects all the security that we push out as insights. So what happens is, so markets go volatile, then you will feel that effect across all the universe. So it gets normalized as well. So what happens is, you don't have to worry about individual volatility, but just look at the market, look at the insights and say, yeah, okay, this still in the volatile markets, these signals are better. So it is always normalized.
Okay, I'm going to take one last one, Akshay, because we've crossed the 45-minute mark, and then we'll just kind of close on our last few, just 2 slides on what the subscription is, what special offer we have for all of you. But I would just like to take Rimila's question. She asks, how much return can I expect annually?
Rimila, that is an unfair question. Look, in life, more money is always better than less money. Okay. How much return you can expect annually is merely more a question of expectations than reality. So I would suggest be realistic. You should expect with InvestorAi to beat the market, because we are all about stock selection, stock predictions, etc., etc. So if you do it in a good way, you should definitely expect to beat the market. But please don't be greedy. Don't go to the other extreme and sort of start losing money because you're doing so much. So I cannot tell you what return you can expect, but if the market is giving you 10%, you should do better than market. And as long as you're doing better than market, that is what is important. The other thing I will say, that it is better to be consistent with a lower return than to be heroic in a few times doing spectacular returns and most of the time losing money. So please, be disciplined. If you're generating 2-3% every month, you are doing 20-30%. That is fantastic. And if you do it for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, that will take care of your life. Okay, so just be long term, but again, that's my view. There are a lot of people who may have different views. So Shruti, I just want to say one thing before you go on to the payments and stuff. So look, of course, we want you to subscribe. That's how we make money. That's how we keep InvestorAi alive. That is how we keep giving you good signals. So what I'm going to say is slightly self-serving, but even so, the way I would encourage you that don't think of it as subscriptions. It's 800 rupees a month. Come on. It's the price of a Swiggy order. Okay. Think of it as the price of knowledge. Think of it as an investment in yourself, because this will teach you. Even if you don't make money, even if you don't invest for 2-3 months, build the muscle memory that I was talking about. So looking at investor, even I find that there are days or 2-3 days when I don't look at InvestorAi. When I come back, I have to kind of reconnect. It takes me a little bit of time. Whereas when I look at it every day, I am following a trend. I'm very familiar with it. It takes me less time, but I understand more. So I would really encourage this to InvestorAi to become a part of your daily life. Okay, and if you want to just use the free version, of course, please use the free version. But you will get so much more with all our ideas if you with a subscribed version. And Shruti will now tell you how you can subscribe.
Great. And we have the algo that Akshay spoke about. Alpha 330, so 3% returns in 30 days. So even if you were just looking at our sample insights, to begin with, so register with us. And I think you you just have to get started out. I think that's really what it is. So can I have the slides, please, team? Just to give them a stepwise way of how you could start your journey. Akshay said it, for the price of a Swiggy order, and I'm sure over the weekend, all of us are going to be ordering at least one meal over Swiggy. Maybe along with that, you want to, also make some money. So, check out the app, start learning. Here is the special offer that we have on both. If you're looking at the domestic pro plan, this is where you get India as one market, but you get all our other, all algos and everything that we spoke about. You will really need to start playing around with the app to really, get used to what all got said today. This is your offer on the annual package. It's 8,900 in the market for a year, but it's 8010, with our discount code, which I will show you in the next slide. But otherwise, you could just start off on a monthly, and just see how it goes for a month once you try out, of course, the sample insights. And Global Pros, Sharmishta, you had some questions, and I saw some other people ask about international markets to get started. This is an annual package plan where we again have 10% off. The price outside is 14,900, but you have a special offer for a year. It's 13,410 rupees with us if you've attended this webinar. Next slide, please. Okay, and the way to get to our app, if you are already a registered user with us, then you just have to click on subscriptions in the menu, and and then it's very easy for you to kind of subscribe to the plan. You just need to enter this webinar code over here, which is WBNR08. That's your code, and I think it's less than 3 steps for you to actually avail this discount. But if you are not registered with us and you got excited after this, first time investor webinar, and now you don't want to lose out on time along with AI that Akshay spoke about, then what you need to do is visit our website, which is investorai.co.uk. You will hit register there, and you will have a place to enter the webinar code, and then you follow the steps for registration. And that's how you avail your discount from today's webinar. You can follow us on all channels, but most importantly, if you're free on a Saturday, 12:30 p.m., we're here. We're always here. And, we will write to you. We will remind you. And if you have our app, that is a very easy way to register for our webinar. So we hope to see you next week to learn more. Akshay, you have a point that you want to make.
I just want to say one thing that, if you have any trouble, because you can subscribe through net banking, you can be UPI will be available very shortly. If you have any trouble, just write to support@bridgeweave.com. Support@bridgeweave.com. Okay?
Yeah, we also have the details up here.
This is our net banking details. You take a screenshot, please, and you can use that to pay. And remember, InvestorAI is probably the best way to make money without exposing yourself to coronavirus. Okay, it is dead easy. You can sit at home, you can play with it, and again, don't just write to us at support@bridgeweave.com if you want help. If you have any ideas, there are users who are writing to us with ideas, saying, "What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" And we welcome that. We love to have that conversation. And so the fact that you're using our app, you're interested in investments, that's exactly what we want. So please, keep writing to us. We would love to hear from you.
And on that note, thank you, Akshay. But just to say, the reason you're seeing the net banking details on the screen is because, our payment gateway is getting upgraded to have all options. But today, if you want to still go ahead with your credit card, it's already there. This is just for people who want in the interim, a UPI or a net banking, account and do it through that. That's the reason this is up, but we're looking forward to hear from you and hoping to see a lot more of you on next Saturday at 12:30, and of course, register on our app. So till then, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here every week. Thank you so much.
Stay safe.
Bye. Stay safe. Yes.
Bye-bye.